Walmart's a classic example of how a company has very cleverly figured out how to reduce its costs in a way that wipes out competitors, and they do that mainly at the expense of somebody else, whether it's their employees, including the you know deprived and exploited workers in Southeast Asia or Central America who have no rights, but also including the very people who buy the products. A lot of Americans are in a kind of desperate wheel of choices where, yes, they go to Walmart's because that's the cheap price and they buy in volume at discount stores to get by. What they don't put together is the reality that that comes back to them on their wages, which on the whole have been stagnant in this country for ordinary hourly workers for 30 years. And one of the reasons they're squeezed in their choices as consumers is because their wages have been depressed, and not to mention jobs. And in a better world, government would intervene in that situation and say, first of all, the Walmarts are way too big to be healthy for the society. We may or may not be able to call them a monopoly, but that's essentially the process we're witnessing in our time. A kind of lateral and vertical monopoly control of markets. It's not free markets, they don't have anything to do with it. Walmart gets to a certain girth and has a scale that can run off all smaller competitors. And then they capture producer industries, tell the poultry industry or the pork and clothing industry, if you want to sell huge volume to us, here's the contract. And then those producers go down to the small farmer and say, if you want to produce hogs, you will do it in our enclosed factory. Never mind the environmental damage to your neighbors. Here's the price. And many of those producers, within a few years, discover that they've been captured too, because now they have to take the price that big agribusiness company offers them. And if they don't take it, they're literally shut down because he's got a choice of many others anxious for the income. This is an anti-social system. There's no other way to say it. And not to mention anti-business, anti-free market. And it's quite astounding to me that here we are early in the 21st century refighting, or we ought to be refighting, the same battles, the same issues that came up 100, 120 years ago in America. And it wasn't bleeding heart liberals who made the drive for antitrust legislation back in the 1880s. It was small business. It was farmers. It was the very people who were in fact being victimized by scale. Alas, I wish I could say we've turned the corner and now good people see the light and they're gonna agitate for this. I do see actually a lot of very hopeful signs that this consciousness about overwhelming scale is a weapon. It's not necessary for either efficiency or productive business, and in fact, it destroys not just smaller competitors but innovators. As people understand that, I have some confidence that a new politics will grow out of that. That whether at the local level or the state and federal level, people will begin to agitate for a new scheme of a new sense of organization.